Monday, October 15th, 2018, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So cryptocurrencies and precious metals have spiked this morning, especially cryptocurrencies. I want to look into that. It's strange that someone asked me yesterday what I thought the range was in cryptocurrencies, and I told them that I told them what I thought, and lo and behold, right now it's all green, Bitcoin up 12%, and so on. So before I do that, I want to look at the markets this morning, see what they're doing, the general markets, not just the cryptocurrencies and precious metals. And I want to talk about something that a few of you probably, well, not probably, but have asked me, I think on live streams and maybe some questions or comments concerning MMT, and I didn't even know what that was, but now I know, and I think it's a pipe dream. So what does MMT stand for? Well, modern monetary theory, and I'll go over it. I recommend a video I saw of Jimmy Dore interviewing this woman who is a proponent of MMT. It's a long video, but my wife found it, and she said she listened to it, and she was like, this can't work, but she kept listening, and she told me about it, and she said you need to listen to the whole thing just to see how ridiculous this MMT is. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is that you do get a lot of these pipe dreams. She was even an advisor to Bernie Sanders. So let's look at the market before I go deeper into that and see what's going on Monday. Are we going to have a Black Monday? Well, right now it looks like maybe we might. The stock markets are down. So let's start though with precious metals. So it's 8 a.m. exactly. Gold 1224.65, up $7 or 0.5%. The range has been 1216 to 1225. So it looks like they want to keep 25 is the resistance right now. Silver up 8 cents. So not underperforming nor outperforming gold. Up the same amount. Percentage wise, it's at 1467 right now. Range has been 1455 to 1470. The Dow futures is down 88 right now at 25,240. It has been down as much as 150 overnight. S&P, so that's down 1/3%. S&P is down 10, also 1/3% at 2755. Nasdaq 100 futures down 0.75%, or down 50 points at 7106. Currencies, the pound has been fairly weak overnight. It has rebounded, but there's talk that we might not have a Brexit deal or leave the EU by the deadline. So the pound's down about 36 pips, or 1/4% at 131.15. The low has been 130.80 overnight. Euro is virtually unchanged at 115.62, and the dollar is down 1/3% against the yen, below 112. It's at 111.485. The dollar is up marginally against the yuan. Not much, nothing to write home about. It's at 692.70. Crude oil is fairly firm. It's up 2/3%. The WTI 71.74. It is off the highs of 72.55, but still up 50 cents. Brent is up 79 cents, or 1% at 81.08, and off the highs of 81.72. What about the bond market? Well, the 10-year yield is at 3.15, down 1 basis point, so fairly quiet still. At above the previous high from this year at 3.12. Italian 10-year yield 3.56, down 2 basis points. Above key levels, but the market seems to be a little bit, how can I say, calmed down for now. So what about cryptocurrencies? I was surprised when I got up this morning and I've looked at the World Coin Index that I look at, and Bitcoin was at 7,000, and I thought, oh, it's dropped, because I thought it was like 6,000. Didn't realize we broke through 6,800 really, which I think is a key resistance. It's been capped there for the last few weeks. So that's what I told one of the viewers, one of the people who commented on one of the videos. I said, you know, if we can break 6,800, we could be going a lot higher. And I said, but if we break below 6,000, and you know, that's no good. But I said I told him as well that the probability, in my opinion, was that it was going to break to the upside. So right now, since I started the video, it's come off a little bit. It's 68.56, still up 10%. Ethereum is up 11 at 216, still fairly undervalued, I think. So is EOS, up 7.5 at 553. Ripple is up 14% at 45.70. Bitcoin Cash up 8%, 474. So LITECOIN, for those of you who like LITECOIN, it's up 8% at 56. So we have spiked higher. We're just off the highs. The high in Bitcoin was just above 7,000. Ethereum just below 230. EOS 576 was the high. Bitcoin Cash just above 500. LITECOIN 59. So that's the cryptocurrencies. Will be interesting to see what what happens in the next few days, next few weeks, if it's able to continue. Because recently, you know, we have these pops and then it comes back down. So now I want to talk about this MMT. I even made some notes here. So the Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore, I actually subscribe to his channel. I know he's more towards the left, and I'm not a left-winger or right-winger. I'm like apolitical. But I agree with a lot of the stuff he says. He does admit that this Russian story is rubbish. He does admit a lot of things that are rubbish. But I'm not too sure about his economics. He's more of a socialist. But it's interesting to watch him. And my wife also is not a left-winger either, but she likes to watch him. And she watched this video the other day. And I'll put it up in the cards above and in the link below. And yeah, and I thought it was really weird. So what are they talking about? The woman, by the way, is Stephanie Kelton. And if you look at her, she's got a PhD in economics from Cambridge. She's got a PhD as well from a university called the New College. It's in Manhattan. The head of that college is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. So that's the kind of background she has. She's a PhD economist, but she has been an advisor to Bernie Sanders, economic advisor. But to me, it just goes to show that it doesn't matter. It's whether it's right or left. They're still gonna want to enslave you monetarily, so what's the main modern monetary theory, excuse me. I really recommend you watch it, but her main premise is that governments create the wealth and the money, and that the banks need to be there, the central bank, the treasury, that they all need to be there to distribute that money to the public. I mean, that premise is completely upside down, because if you think of government as just a few hundred people in DC, how can they create the wealth? No, it's the people that create the wealth. So that premise already, doesn't work for me. Jimmy Dore asked her some very good questions, and she actually couldn't really answer them. And Jimmy Dore actually didn't test her and say, look, you haven't really answered the question. So in a way, he didn't do his homework. Maybe it's because he doesn't know as much about these subjects. I don't know. Because he asked her, if the Treasury can issue the money, or the credit. Why does it have to be borrowed into existence? And she actually poo-pooed that. She said, no, it's always been done like that. You need financiers, you need the bankers. So here you have someone on the Bernie Sanders side saying that, no, we still need the bankers and the central bank. We're just going to, still indebt you and enslave you, but we'll give you the money instead, more of the money. She actually said that debts and deficits don't matter. She said it matters for us, the general public, for individual, for our household. But government can, the US government can do it forever. And she doesn't realize that the almost half of US government debt is held by foreigners. So Miss Kelton, what would happen to the value of those little papers that you think are so valuable when foreigners don't want them anymore? Think about that. One of her premises as well is that government has a sacrosanct kind of power to tax people, and that it's a good thing that they need to tax people to pay the bankers. So MMT, no good. So yeah, it's a pipe dream. And my wife agreed. I'd like to thank her. I'm not going to call her Mrs. Monaco 64. I'll call her Sarah. That's her name. So yeah, the best way to see how this is a pipe dream is to actually watch the interview. My wife said you're going to be very frustrated listening to it, but please watch the whole thing. And I'm glad I did, so we can expose this MMT, which is rubbish. We know that money should be like any other commodity, created in a free market, and historically it's been gold and silver. It could become also cryptocurrencies or anything else that we don't even know. And governments should not be involved. I think all the Constitution said is that they can regulate the value of the coins as it pertains to the federal debt, so that their accounting would be done in gold and silver, and they'll use the term dollar and they regulate the value of the coins. It didn't say really that the Treasury had the power just to issue that currency willy-nilly and indebt the general public. This Miss Kelton seems to think that a national debt is a good thing and that it doesn't matter. But why is the middle class being eviscerated, Miss Kelton, in the last 40, 50 years of fiat money in the US? That's my question. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can also follow me on Steemit, DTube, and on Twitter. And if you like to contribute to the channel through donations or purchasing merchandise, there's links below in the description for that. Thank you very much. Take care. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.